I remembered why I'm there. And it's
Mm-hmm.
the community, it's the culture, it's the fashion, it's sometimes the food, it's, the merchandise, it's the
So many
shopping,
other things.
it's
Yeah.
everything.
Hey there, welcome to Rave Culture Cast, your weekly guide to the EDM community, music festivals, and more. Hosted by me, Emma Capotis. Each week, I'll be covering everything from dance music culture, industry news, trending topics, and festival tips, advice, and reviews. You can also expect to hear stories from ravers, artists, business owners, and more. Tune in every Wednesday for your weekly dose of peace, love, unity, and respect. Hey guys, welcome back to Rave Culture Cast, your weekly guide to the EDM community, music festivals, and more. I'm your host, Emma Capotis. What is up, fam? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited you guys are here. I hope everybody had an incredible Thanksgiving and you got to enjoy time with family and friends and just relax a little bit. I'm definitely we're feeling so much better. We're healing, our health is getting better, so we're in a really good place. So I'm so excited to bring you guys this week's episode. But before we dive into everything, I want to share a quick message from today's partner, which is Raver. Some of you guys might have heard me talk about Raver before. It was my complete lifesaver during EDC Las Vegas and EDC Orlando. But essentially, it's an elevated hydration stick that does so much more than keep you hydrated. The company's mission, it's made by ravers for ravers, and it's supposed to help you guys stay safe and healthy and recover quickly. The powder, essentially, it's a little powder. You pour it in your water and you shake it up and you can drink it as a daily supplement, or you can drink it, before, during, or after a show or festival. It contains a blend of neuroprotectants, electrolytes, trace minerals, and sustainably sourced organic ingredients. It's vegan-free, it's stimulant-free, there's no 5-HTP in it or artificial sweeteners, and it tastes delicious. So again, I use this for all my events to help me stay hydrated, and it has all incredible ingredients in it as well that just help you feel better. So you guys can head over to Drink Ravery. That's drink RAVERAIDE.com, and you can use code EMMAK for a discount. So that's drinkravery.com, code EMMAK for a discount. Go show them some love and support. All right, with all that being said, you guys, quickly I want to give a set recommendation of the week. Usually I do an artist highlight, but this week I kind of was just feeling a set. So I've been listening to the Matroda EDC Orlando set on re-fucking-peat. It was so good. Spoiler alert, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, I did a review of EDC Orlando, and I said that Matroda was my favorite set of the whole weekend. He's an incredible tech house artist. He does a little bit of tech and bass house, but it was so much fun. It was my favorite set of the weekend, and he went ahead and blessed us and uploaded his set on SoundCloud. So it is available. You can check it out in case you missed it. I will leave a link down in the show notes, but highly recommend it. It's good pre-game set or just get you pumped, good workout set, anything like that. So link will be down in the show notes. Last thing I want to take care of here, guys. We are nearing the end of the year here. And if you are new to Rave Culture Cast, you wouldn't know this, but every single year I do a best of episode, usually the last week of the year or the first week of the new year. And it's a roundup of all things dance music. So I give my opinions on my favorite artists of the year, my favorite tracks, albums, collaborations, new artists or newcomers, and we just talk music that whole episode, and I love doing it. So I always like to get your feedback as well, because I literally count all of your votes and I put it all together and I read those as well. So email me, raveculturecast@gmail.com, raveculturecast@gmail.com. Start sending in your submissions. I'm going to ask for them every week up until the end of December. Again, I want to know your favorite artist of the year, favorite track, favorite album, favorite collaboration, and favorite newcomer or new artist that came on your radar in 2021. So send those emails in. I'm really, really excited to see what you guys all vote on. Okay, with all that being said, our guest this week. Today I'm joined by a really incredible creator. who goes by Momo Dubs. She's one of the most genuine, kind creators in the EDM scene. She's the creative director of operations at Freedom Ravewear, where she helps design a ton of their collections. She's also designed some collections for Jaws as well, which is really cool. But Maureen has been really open about being a recovering addict, and she is now a sober raver. So we're going to chat a little bit about her journey and how she got to this place where she's kind of like living her dream life now. And she's fully embracing being a sober raver. So she has a lot of tips and advice for anybody out there in a similar situation. So I know a lot of you guys will resonate with her story. I'm so excited to welcome her to the podcast. So please join me in welcoming Momo Dubs to Rave Culture Cast. All right, you guys, welcome back. Today we have a special guest, Maureen Bull, a popular EDM content creator, better known as Momo Dubs. She's also the creative director of operations at Freedom Ravewear, who she's rocking today. Loving it. She's got a really amazing story that I can't wait to share with you guys today. So we're going to go ahead and dive into it. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so stoked to be here.
Yay. Oh, I'm so glad. We were just chatting off camera a little bit, but you just survived your first EDC Las Vegas. How was that whole experience?
Oh my God. It was like everything that I hoped it would be and more, in like the best way and also like in the most overwhelming way. Like I'm from Ohio. Like I'm used to Midwest camping festivals, and then I threw myself like out on the West Coast with 450,000 people, and was just like, the second I arrived in Vegas, everything was overwhelming, and I'm like, this hotel is the size of some of the cities in Cleveland. Like, what's going on? Like, what?
Yeah.
It was all massive, but like, I think my jaw was on the floor for probably like the first 45 minutes I was at EDC on the first day. Like it was it was the most amazing experience. And like for the past at least like 6 or so years, like I'd be seeing videos or like watching the live stream of EDC and being like, next year I'm going to do it. And then I never did. And in August of 2020, when Pascal put tickets back on sale, I like impulsively bought one because it was $10 down. And it was the best decision ever, because I finally got the chance to live my dreams and go. And as overwhelming as it was definitely an experience I think everyone in the EDM community should have at least once in their life, because it is
totally,
you can't explain it. You know what I mean? Like you could try to explain it and show people videos, but like until you're there, it's like what?
It does it every time. We had a mixed group of like people who had gone, and then people first timers, but even so, like since it's been a year and a half since 2019, it's just like the most incredible view when you first walk in. It just hits you and you're like, holy shit, I'm here.
Right.
It's
and
just
like,
crazy.
We came in from the side, so like we didn't get the bleacher view, but like it didn't matter. Like I got the bleacher view eventually, and like I still saw, like we came in by no man's land and wasteland. And I had people, I posted a video on Instagram being like, you didn't even get the real view. And I'm like, I don't care. It was amazing.
There's no real view. It's fine.
I was like, well, I could go up there eventually. Calm down. Get your negative stuff out of here. I don't want that. Oh.
Exactly. You're getting the experience either way. And yeah, so you said you're from Ohio. Give us a little background on yourself before we dive into all of the fun topics today.
For sure. I have lived in suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio. The window's over there. That's why I'm Vanna Whiting it. I have a desktop, or else I'd show you. But love it here. It's a beautiful fall day here in Ohio, like dead ass. Like the trees are all like, fun colors. I think it's like 55 degrees, which is actually pretty nice. But I've lived here my whole life. I love it. I don't think I'll ever move. Everyone thinks I'm nuts. Like when I go visit other places or California or anywhere in the South, and they're like, well, why don't you ever move down here? And like, I've loved a lot of other places, and this is my home. Like I love the seasons. Ask me that again when it snows. Probably won't have the same response. I'm angry, but I love the seasons. All my family's here. All my friends are here. I grew up, like I said, I grew up here. I moved around the city a little bit since I was a little kid, but I went to high school in the area. I went to college at Ohio University, which is about 3.5 hours south of Cleveland. But just far away enough to get away, but like quick way to come back home. And that was the best. I wouldn't have changed that experience for the world. So yeah, I love everything about it here. Our rave scene is waning a little bit, but the best part about the Cleveland area is that I'm 3 hours from Detroit, I'm 2 hours from Pittsburgh, I'm 2 hours from Columbus, and I'm about 3 or 4 from like the Cincinnati area. So like I have my fair pick of shows, not to mention the fact that if you live in the Midwest, it's like, oh, it's only an 8 hour drive. That's fine. We can make that. That's just kind of my thing. I don't know why, but
Yeah. So I was going to
but
ask you
yeah.
about the rave scene. Okay, cool. So when did you like get into dance music? Was that in high school or college?
Um okay, so it was definitely in college. I remember the day, like of course I had heard a few like songs like at the bars or at parties before that. But I remember like the exact moment that somebody showed me dubstep, and it was before in Ohio University they have these massive festivals. I don't know if I'm assuming they still do. But one of them was called Number Fest, and it was a music festival, but like at the Southern Ohio
Mm-hmm.
scale, where like you take a couple cases of beer and go into a muddy field.
Right.
And the first year it was like MGK was a headliner, but MGK was barely anyone. This was what, 2011, so this is 10 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, and he's not what he was today. So like
Yeah.
my friends and I loved him, but that's where I was exposed to a lot of EDM, because the next year 12th Planet played. And I just remember being like, this guy is cool. I had no idea what I was experiencing at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just a lot of different things. I remember somebody showing me like, oh, you have to listen to this. I think it's like a Pandora radio station. It's like dubstep radio, and it was like one of the artists that we don't support anymore. And and like Flux Pavilion and Rusco and a little bit of Excision, and I was like, what
Mm.
is this? And it was just rabbit hole from then. And I went to my first so that was my first festival in the spring of
Mm-hmm.
2011. And then in the fall of 2011, I started going to more raves. I'd gone to a few of them during my freshman year. But it was a rave in 2011. So like we wore like white t-shirts that we drew on with highlighters, and
Yeah.
like, I mean,
Yep.
it's
The
the good old
uniform.
neon days.
Yeah, yeah,
Fluffies, like that was
yeah.
the deal. It was so fun. But like in the fall, I actually one of the local event promoters, one by the name of Dave Rave, was looking for like designers and like street team
Mm.
helpers to like help pass out flyers. And I had an interview with them, and I got involved with them. So I've been like working in the rave scene. Granted, like, again, this was like college campus rave scene, so it wasn't like massive, but like
Yeah.
we had a few good people come, in and out. We had Crisley there the one year for one of the big anniversaries, and I loved it. Like they were small scale. They were in like a upper part of a bar, but like that was my deal. But like there weren't a whole lot of people that I could like talk EDM with. So like years
Mm-hmm.
down the road, when I finally found like all the Facebook groups and all the people on Instagram that are just like as obsessed with this as me, I was like, I'm home. These are my
Right.
people. Like I was so
Totally.
like going to the event was great, but like, everyone was just there to party. Like I was also there to party at the time. But like,
Mm-hmm.
it was the music. I've always been in love with the music. And that was the one thing, like finding this community online and then again in real life has been so huge, because I have people to talk to about this. Like I have people who understand and appreciate like before. Now it's the fashion, but the music and like everything that goes around it, the culture and just the inside jokes we have from festivals. And like
Mm-hmm.
so many of my normal friends like don't understand it. I'm like, it's a whole other lifestyle. You know what I
It
mean? Like
is. It
it's
totally
awesome. But
is. Oh,
yeah.
that's amazing. I feel the same as you. I think like it's just like such a different connection when you find people
Yeah.
who are like just as passionate, like super into it. You just feel like you can talk with them forever. That's how I feel too. Like I have a whole full friend group now that's like not just festival friends, but we talk like every
Mhm.
single day in a group chat and stuff like that. So that's
Yes.
like it's interesting to hear everybody's like rave story and evolution of how they got into it. And now like now you have a whole page and you're working with Freedom Raver. Like how did you get there? When did you
Oh
start
my
to take like your page more seriously and how did that go?
girl, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was funny because like, so basically, like I said, I got into the rave scene in college. I wound up going to rehab in 2014 and getting clean and sober, and I have been since then. So I had to take a few years away from going to like shows because it's not the best environment when you're
It's
trying to not do
everywhere.
that.
Yeah.
Um, so now my rave squad or my original rave squad, was all of my friends in recovery, and we started going back to shows together. Smaller scale ones in Cleveland. We used to have awesome shows in Cleveland, man. Like every couple months. Now they're okay, but like I said, Columbus is normally got the better lineups. But it all started like my page always used to be private. Like I was always, I had my parents and all my friends like, you should watch what you post on there. You're gonna need to get a job one day. Yeah. And now I don't care because my job is this. So it's like whatever.
Yeah. Manifested that. Yeah.
But it was always private, and I would always try to like tag the artists that I was going to see if they would like repost me. And then someone was like, well, they can't see it if you're private, so you should make your page public. And I was like, and that's where I changed my name to I took my last name out of it, and I made my page public. And I remember the first artist who like commented on my stuff was Brills, who is now Ellis Dream. And that's when he was doing all the trap stuff back in the day under Brills. And I went to see one of his shows in Cleveland. It was like the coolest moment for me. Like, oh my God, they know what I did. And back then, my rave fashion for shows was I would take, like a solid color t-shirt from the craft store and iron on these crazy like DJ logos and like take fabric paint and like make my own shirt and wear it with change shorts. And that was my idea of it. And then I found the world of rave fashion, like I think it was like 2015. And I was just like, this is all the like 90s Spice Girls stuff my mom wouldn't let me have that I need as an adult now. Like everything about it, I was obsessed with. And I remember seeing like people all over Instagram and being like, oh my God, I want to look like this. Like I want to be like a little high schooler. Like I want to be like them. And it's funny that like some of those people follow me now and it still like fucking blows my mind that that's a thing. But I think it was in about 2018 is when I finally dropped my last name off of my Instagram and I kept it public because I was writing at the time for EDM Maniac. And I wanted to post a lot of my stories on there, but I was also starting to get into the rave fashion a little more. And I was like, well, I kind of want to build my audience and like, get my stories out and get the blog's name out more so that we can get more followings and more hits and everything. And, obviously like I'm putting all this energy into these rave outfits. Like I want other people to see them and stuff. Yeah. So that's what I just started to. And then I became like a little baby, content creator for a couple brands with the coupon codes and stuff like that. A lot of them don't do them anymore. But that was another thing where I was like, I want free clothes. Like use my code here. Like and I love this brand, like. And that was another thing. Was at first it was just trying to like get my name out there, get my code out there, and like now somewhere during the pandemic it turned into like I think it was probably the most during the 13 looks of Halloween when I was doing, I still have no idea what I was doing, a look a day pretty much. And then full on editing, like backgrounds and crazy spooky things in these pictures. And now I'm sitting on like 3 outfits I got to make content for. I'm like, how do I do this every day?
It's hard work. I don't think people really,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
My dad doesn't really understand the rave community, but he's like, whatever makes you happy. He called it fairy time because last year I was a fairy for one of the days of 13 looks on Halloween. That was the only cute look I did. The rest of them were demons, and then for Christmas like Krampus, and he'd be like, oh my God. And I'm like,
let's go back to fairy time. Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's fairy time. It's fairy time.
That's
not
so
vampire
funny.
time. It's fairy time. I'm like, whatever.
Wow.
So that's he's if I've got like my whole room ripped apart, he's like, "Fairy time." And I'm like, "Yep, you'll see you in a couple hours." Like that's just the way it
Wow.
goes. But
Hey guys, I want to pause for a quick second to share a message from one of today's sponsors who we've spoken about a lot on today's episode, Freedom Ravewear. Freedom Ravewear is a staple ravewear brand that makes inclusive clothing for both men and women. They also make kick-ass accessories as well. Their collections feature really cool graphic prints, bright colors, reflective materials. And this Thursday, December 2nd, they are dropping a brand new collection designed by yours truly, MomoDubz. And it's New Year's Eve themed, and it's inspired by Gatsby, which is so cool. So it's officially on sale this Thursday, December 2nd. There will be a link down below in the show notes to shop the full collection. And you can use code EMMA-NYE, that's EMMA-NYE, to get 15% off your orders. So don't sleep on that deal. 15% off your order, code EMMA-NYE. Everything will be listed down below in the description box. Shop small this holiday season, guys. Support Freedom Ravewear and MomoDubz.
But yeah, I guess my page is kind of like, it really exploded over the last year or so. And it was the pandemic, I think, that like really made me want to grow it for like, I want to build my, like a community of people around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time last summer, I just did like a little Women Crush Wednesday of like a bunch of new people that I followed who like, I really love their makeup or I really love their page. And like, that brought me super close to like Katie, you know, like we were super, like we followed each other, but like, that's kind of like what brought us together. And, you know, we've been tight ever since. And going through like 13 looks of Halloween and then 12 days of Rave Miss, like, and having all of that content out there and being able to connect with people and talk about different looks and just like commiserate together about the pandemic. Like that's the one thing I think about a lot is that like as a Rave community, like we were like, yeah, last year sucked, but like we were so lucky that we had so many of us together to be there for each other. You know, no one had to go through that alone. You know, like we were all there as a community to make TikToks about how we're losing our mind or, you know, post on our story. God, I think I posted, God knows how many like videos of me just like sobbing last year. Like, I just want to go to festival.
Right.
Like, and here we are this year running ourselves into the ground, going to one every month. But
exactly.
Hey, it's worth it. Like
we've come full circle. Totally.
Right. And like it just kind of exploded from there. And you know, now it's like I see the numbers of my followers going up, but like it still doesn't like
you're just doing your thing.
Like, yeah, she's like, I love how you like remain so genuine on your stories. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like you're still the same person you were when you only had a couple hundred followers. And I'm like, am I supposed to be somebody else? I don't understand. Like this is as good as it's gonna get, y'all. Like you.
I love it though. I love your page. That's like I remember finding your page, and that was like one of the things like, and I really appreciate about you is like you are really vulnerable and you share all these different parts of you. Cause like it's one thing if you want to start a page in this community and it can be very curated and you can just post certain things, but I think like you really establish a community when you're a real person and you share the different sides and like people get to know you and like they feel like you're a friend of them, you know what I mean? And especially with this community, like you do have the opportunity to meet people in person as well. So like that adds a whole element of it. But no, I love how like real you are on your page, and it's really cool to see your growth with everything as well. And like now you're working with Freedom Ravewear, which is a crazy thing. First you had your collaboration with them, correct? And then
that's another thing where like you have to, and anyone who follows me may know this, but like you have to understand that like I was like, it's sad, but like when I was using, like I was a partying college kid, but like I always expected to just like live a mediocre life and like get high all the time and just like inch by my whole life. Like, and then I got into recovery, I got clean. And, you know, one of the big mottos in the program I work is lost dreams awaken and new possibilities arise. And I'm like 60 days clean with no job, no money. I'm living back at my mom's. I just dropped out of college, like just not great, like at all.
Yeah.
And, you know, people are like, you know, if you just keep going, like someday you'll have a life that you never would have even dreamed would have been yours. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let me know when I can get through the day without wanting to use. Okay, that'll be great, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so like all of these little opportunities and like the life that I have today, like I just sob all the time because like
Mm-hmm.
this was not supposed to be my life, but it is. And like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so crazy fucking grateful for like all of the places that like the rave community has brought me, and like it's my whole career now. And like that's
You're gonna make
fucking
me
cool.
cry. I'm like,
I know.
I'm an emotional ass bitch, but like it really is amazing. I tell people this all the time, and like social media is not for everyone, everybody. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But like you've experienced it, I've experienced it. Like there can be literally life-changing moments that can come out of it, which is
Oh
just
God, yeah.
bizarre. Like you can meet
Yeah.
incredible people that change your life. You can find career opportunities that change your path in life. Like it
Yeah.
really is amazing what you've
It's
built. It's crazy.
it's wild, you know, and that it was so nuts to me that I was like, you know, on Snapchat it says your memories and shit. And I was looking, guys, probably like a week ago, and I was looking through my old thing, and it was only a year ago, like around this time of year, that I reached out to Freedom Ravewear with that idea for that first collab. Like it's only been a year. So like that's what like so many people are like, oh, I don't think I could ever get to that point. And like, I don't know if I could do that. And like, I don't know if I'm good enough. And like, I used to be that person. And like somewhere, I think it's when I started writing for EDM Maniac in 2018. And like, I sent them this like super ballsy resume of like, hey, you should let me write for you because, you know, like all these things. And I just got this like, I got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Like it's gonna sting
Mm-hmm.
for a week and then I'm gonna get over it kind of attitude. And like that's benefited me so much because I'm just like all up in people's inboxes, like, hey, you want to do some stuff? Hey,
Right.
stuff. You know, like no shame. And if they say no, then it's okay, cool.
The
Keep me in
worst
mind for
they can
next
say
time.
is no. Exactly. You
Right.
put it
You
out
know?
there. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, basically last fall it all started. I got really close with Rosa at Rolita Couture, and she was having me do those drippy signs and earrings and stuff for
Mm.
her with the acrylic at the time. And it was so much fun, and I loved it. And it was so cool to like see my designs like wind up on her website and people
Mm-hmm.
hanging them in their rooms and stuff. And you know, she creative directed a lot of it. She has so many amazing ideas of like, you know, she'd give me like one little bit of like, this is, I want drippy stuff. And I just go off running and be like, here's 7 shapes. Like,
Got it. Got it. Okay.
um, and then I did like a fabric design, and she was like, well, you know, I don't, you know, do my own printed fabric. This was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you see? I know Freedom Ravewear has a sublimation machine. Why don't you see what they think? And I was like, okay. So I took it and I ran over to FRW and was like, hey, I made this thing, and I thought it was the Rave to the Grave collection with all the little like candy and
Mm-hmm.
hello sir, would you like to come in? My dog being nosy. Um, with all the little, would you like to come say hi? Come here. This is Aiko.
Aw. Oh my
Can you
God.
say hi?
Podcast listeners, if you're on YouTube, you're getting the puppy. Oh my gosh. So cute. Just
So he's
chill.
just gonna chill. But so I sent them this print, and it was, you know, all the like candy and like a fanny pack and stuff. And I was just like, hey, I thought this was fun. Like, you guys want to throw it on some fabric? And my goal at that point was just like, I made this thing. I'd love to wear some rave clothes with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, some cute designs on it and be like, I made this. Like that's just like that was
So
my
cool.
goal at the time. Like I just thought that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, for sure. Like we'd love to have that, but like, you know, we can't, you know, like bring you on with like commission or anything. I'm like, that's fine, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
throw some biker shorts at me and we'll call it a day. Like
Right.
I'm cool with that. And then they asked if I'd be willing to do a commission project, which wound up being their Metamorphosis line with Little Black Diamond. And you know, that was the one thing that I understood when it comes to like anything and getting a foot in the door is that like sometimes you got to work for nothing or you got to work for, you know, not a lot in order to get
Mm-hmm.
that foot in the door so that you can do the bigger scale things. And I
Yep.
recommend that to anybody who's trying to get anywhere because if they know you and they trust you, then they may want to bring you on board. It's like a test run.
You over deliver in the beginning, and then
exactly, and that's why like I was totally fine at that point. Like I was totally fine. Like we'll work for Rave clothes. That's what I did with Rosa too. Is I like, and I'm like, no, just send me a set from your new collection. I'm gonna give you the money back anyway. So like, what's the point? And that was my deal. I was fine with that. So I did those 2 collections with them. And then in January, I actually, somebody had told me that Jaws was looking for a new designer, graphic designer for his merch. And I was like, I am horribly underqualified for this. Like, what do I got to lose? We're gonna apply. Yeah. And I sent my response in, and his lovely wife Joanne responded to me and was like, so what are your rates? What's your experience? And I was like, experience is minimal, and like, just let me in. And she did. And
what? I didn't know this. Holy shit.
I designed I did all of Jaws's spring summer merch line. It was like a pashmina jersey, bandana, lots of cool stuff. I've been doing some stuff here and there for Bite This, and I just wrapped up their fall winter collection, which it's been like, that was the like freedom. All the other stuff has been amazing, but like nothing was as awesome as like being at EDC at Circuit Grounds and Jaws is up there playing. I'm like, I make merch for this guy sometimes. Like, what is that?
That is so cool.
Fireworks and shit. And I'm like, this is wild,
Wow, that's amazing.
And that has been, one of my favorite projects to work on, just because they come up with such fun stuff. And, they're another one where they give me like a little example and, this is what we're going for. And Joanne's great to work with, and they just like give me such fun projects. I love that. But so I did that through the spring. And then after I wrapped up some stuff with Freedom Rave, where I had this idea in my head for a long time about like a biohazard, like nuclear waste themed rave wear, like just real edgy. My deal's mostly dubstep. I love the pink. Right. I will be in marabou fur and cute fluffy stuff all day. But like, I'm big about like with my own personal fashion, like I love to match the aesthetic to the sound of the music. So like with dubstep, that's all like dark. Yeah. So I thought, this would be cool, to test this out. And, I got it together, and I told Alyssa, like, hey, I've got this really cool idea for like a biohazard kind of collection. And she sent me a few of the fabric patterns over and was like, yeah, go for it. Give me, let me know what's going on. And I wound up cranking out most of the pieces for the Toxic collection in one night. Wow. And I was just so excited about it and the direction that it was going in. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, could I imagine wearing this to Lost Lands? That would be so cool. And I wasn't on board with Freedom Rave yet at all. And I sent her the proofs the next morning, and they all lost their shit. And they were like, what? It came out so good. Yeah. It's a different direction for them too. I feel like it looked very different than everything they've done before. Absolutely. And that collection went, it did so well, and like half the pieces like wound up, we had to put them on pre-order on the first day, and that's when they called and they were like, you want to come work for us? I was like, I was on my way to
oh my God, that's amazing.
And I just start again sobbing, and I'm like, wow. Like, because like, my job before, like I loved what I did, but it wasn't, it's been there for 7 years. It was time to move on. Like, it was in the print media industry, which is not going in the right direction. And it was the perfect opportunity for, me to keep moving. And I live the dream now. Everyone's like, how's your new job? And I'm like, I'm living my best fucking life. Like I sit here all day with the dog and I make rave clothes. Like what? That is amazing. Seriously, what an amazing story. And it's right up your alley. And you're clearly like,
you have a knack for it and you're passionate about it. So it's like literally manifesting the dream scenario here, and you're just getting started, which is so exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's been, it's just been a whirlwind over the past year of like I said, like I've barely been doing this for a year, it's just like as a designer of learning how to take those skills and like, it's basically like coloring inside the lines of, I've got this piece, and of course I've had my trial and error since of maybe we don't want to put that on that area of that piece. That
right.
Right. And moving things around and, helping out with, the marketing promos and stuff too. And I hope to be super just involved in like every little part of communications of the company soon, but I'm still kind of like getting used to one thing and then I'm expanding at the company. So, but I love it. It's so amazing to work for such a dope fucking company that like gives a shit about everything. Like I love it. Like I'm proud to say I work there. Like we make awesome stuff, but like, all of the things with the sustainability and just like when I started there to like hear how in depth and how everything in that company is, it's sustainable. It's making sure that we're minimizing waste. It's making sure that, well, now we're moving to packaging soon that will be, completely either compostable or recycle, whatever it is.
Eco-friendly. Yeah.
Green. Yes. I'm still trying to understand it, but like donating back to charities and, my boss will call me like once a week and be like, hey, how's it going? What do you need? How's everything? Are you good? And like,
oh, that's awesome.
It's just like, it's so amazing. And like, it's such fun work and it's such great people to work with. Like, I don't know how I got so fucking lucky. You know what I mean? Like, it's great. I love it so much.
You put good energy out and it comes back to you. And
oh my God, yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, well, I'm so excited now. Now when everybody sees like all the Freedom Raver collections and things, that was the Toxic collection, correct? That was the name of it?
Yes, that was Toxic. And that's the thing is that I haven't been designing all of them from start to finish because like I said, I've been kind of like, it was a whirlwind because I started and then 2 weeks later I had to go to Lost Lands and then 3 weeks later, got to.
Yeah.
And then I had EDC.
So it's been a lot.
So it's been a lot, but when I tell you guys that I have an entire like 3-page Google Doc of like, it's a table of nothing but like collection ideas. Like we're about to do a really awesome one for New Year's that I'm actually, I started brainstorming on last night. I can't tell you what it is, but it's gonna be really cute. It's definitely a great New Year's print. But most of the things that we've done thus far have not been like completely designed by me, but we do have one coming out soon. It's called Duality, and it's that super awesome trendy like split black and white that's like everyone's doing right now.
Love it. Love black and white. Yep.
I love the split, if you could tell with Toxic. Like I love that split look of like one, flipping kind of thing. And the idea behind Duality was like moving into the winter time and how everything slows down, but we need the slow time in order to appreciate the good time, and kind of like the properties behind the yin yang and order and chaos and negativity and positivity, light and dark. And that was I want to start doing like little infographics for like all my collections too, to kind of like explain this kind of stuff because I think it's fun, cool. To like have a little learning bit in there. But it's a split, and it's like a trippy design on the one side, and it's a Seed of Life on the other, like order and chaos. And they just shot that last weekend, and it looks so cool in real life. I'm so excited. We're coming out with our tie dyes. We're doing 2 prints that release, I think tomorrow, Wednesday, the
nice
20, the
next
9th.
week. Oh, next, yeah.
I'm trying to make it the 20th already. No.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to keep a lookout. We're going to keep a lookout for all these collections. Oh, that's amazing.
Honestly, I try to keep an eye on the trends as much as I can, but like I always welcome people. Like if you got an idea for something, man, shoot it in my DMs. Like if you think that something's super trendy, or, that, this would be a really cool collection, because that's the thing is like, I love picking other creatives' brains for this kind of stuff. I love talking to other people and seeing what they think, because their mind works different than mine. Like they're going to be able to go places that I can't go creatively, because I'm in one track and they're in another. And I think that that's so awesome, is having that collaborative nature. And we do so much in the rave community. When you see somebody do a makeup look and you mimic it, but make it your own. And like, I just love how we get so much inspiration from each other. I think it's so awesome.
So cool. Well, I'm so excited for you, and I can't wait to see like some of the new collections coming out. And I feel like now when people see it, they'll have like a different connection to it now, knowing your story behind it. So that's all exciting. And I do want to end kind of asking a couple questions, because you touched on it before, and I think it's a super important topic to talk about.
Absolutely.
And I haven't really covered it much on my podcast yet, but I would love to chat a little bit more about sober raving and what your experience has been like with that. Cause I get DMs about it all the time. I get voice memos from people who say like they feel pressured, or like I had one girl one time saying like she wanted to rave sober, but there was somebody like pressuring her in the group. And I'm just like, you can't listen to any outside opinions. Like it's completely your choice what you want to do, but I want to hear about your experience if you don't mind sharing.
Absolutely. And like, it is really hard. I was really lucky that when I got back into the rave scene, I took almost a solid 2 years away. Because when I got into recovery, I remember being like in my outpatient rehab, and one of the kids who was close to my age like got to go to like spring break, and within like a week or so of that, Excision was coming to Cleveland. And I was like, how come he gets to go to spring break and I can't go to Excision? This is bullshit. Like I was so mad. And my counselor, I remember her being like, if you think you can go by yourself without getting high, go. And I knew I couldn't. Because I hadn't broken that association yet of I'm at a rave. One of my main drugs of choice when I was using was Molly, and that was my deal. And that's, it's a rave drug. And it was really hard to not only just like reset, like I always joke now that I have like Swiss cheese brain, because like it's just my serotonin levels are never going to be normal again. It was not the best case scenario, but I took time off. And then when I started going back to raves, I just was going to real small scale shows like in the Cleveland area at nightclubs or at music halls. And I was always going with at least one other person in recovery. So one other person that I had met through my 12-step program that had more clean time than me, or, just definitely so that we could support each other. And there was several shows that we were at where, we'd be like, we need to move away from this area because I am not comfortable, and it helped so much to have that, because it was like you were a team, like together. You weren't going to use together, you're going to get through this together and enjoy the show. And that helped me build that new association. I know it can be a lot harder. I have one friend, I met her on Instagram, and now we're like best friends, Crystal. And I love her to pieces. And she, is recently sober. Not recently, actually, it's been about 2 years. But I know that, her friend group always like for a while, like had a hard time accepting too, that like, okay, well, you used to party with us all the time. Like, what is this? You want to be sober? And I think that's where a lot of the pressure comes from, is that when you do partake in any sort of substance or, party favor, whatever, that some people in your rave fam may be used to that. And, for me, when I was using, like, I wanted everybody to be on Molly, because I'm so happy and you're so pretty that we should all have it,
Right.
So it's really hard, but like, I wasn't trying to be rude or like make anyone uncomfortable. I thought I was helping at the time. So, not to say that that's what they think, but, it may also help to like, expand your rave fam a little bit, and maybe find some other people who like to do that, because it can be hard to break those associations. It can be hard to come to accept, especially when you're messed up, that, like this person isn't doing that anymore, and that's their choice, And that's where some of the pressure may come from. Honestly, I can say in my 5 years of, I've been to countless shows, festivals, larger weekend shows, clean, sober, whatever. And I've only been pressured, like hounded one time in all of that time. And it was from a good friend of mine who was just zoinked. Like he was on a different planet. I know he wasn't, trying to be mean or malicious or rude about it or anything. He just wasn't in his
there.
best state of mind.
Yeah.
Everyone in the rave community, which is so funny because in the beginning, like I was so like almost like embarrassed by it. It's like, well, like I can't tell people that. And some people have gotten weird about it. Like they're like, everyone's first reaction when I'm like, oh, I don't drink. They're like, do you want some juice? And I'm like, juice? Like, but at the same time, like, what kind of juice? Like, I don't, so, but I've always gotten such a positive reaction from most people. I think it's just like so fucking awesome. And like, my philosophy has always been like, I don't mind if you do, as long as you don't mind that I don't. Like, I respect you doing as much as you want to do. If you need someone to look out for you, I am Mama Trick Sitter. I am here because I love psychedelics. I know what you're going through. I know what you need. Like, I can help you out. It's always nice to be that one sober person to like make sure that everyone's okay. But basically, once my friends and I started going to shows together sober, it's hard because most people realize it is sober, but like I mostly stay clean. So, Anyway, so we wanted to go to our first festival. We couldn't figure out where. And we looked into Electric Forest. This was back in 2017. And we found out that they have a sober campground. It's one of the specific little group camps. And we were like, all right, this looks pretty awesome. Like it's a little recovery, little recovery community. And that was my first like big EDM festival. And we went, and this campground, if anyone is in recovery or trying to do the festival sober, clean, definitely would recommend trying to get into Camp Traction at Electric Forest. If you go, it's a whole little campsite. Of course, there's chaos around it, but it's a whole campsite of all people in recovery. And there's meetings throughout the day, which my first year was so helpful because it was a great way to start the day, get myself in a good mindset. And then it was a good way to check in throughout the day because they also have a booth inside of the venue by the Ranch Arena that has meetings in there as well. And I just remember being there my first year and getting into the venue and going to a meeting after my first few sets, which I needed because I had never seen anybody snort anything since I got clean. And it turned out that at that time, it was a really big trigger for me. And I was not feeling okay. We went to a meeting, we talked it out. I talked it out with some people, and I just felt that like I was able to get it out and hold myself accountable and knowing that I had friends there. And I remember getting out and seeing Jai Wolf play on the Ranch Arena, and it was one of my favorite songs. And I just, you got this, sat on the ground and cried, and it was just like so
got it out.
But it's so awesome to have other people supporting you, and they're out there. It's just, honestly, I've seen so many people post in like rave groups on Facebook, like, hey, I'm trying to do this, whatever. You'll be amazed with how many people fucking comment on those things. Like, that's where you can find a lot of people. And that really helps a lot. It's definitely worth it. Like for me, like I know that some people, aren't addicts. They aren't like completely abstinent from all things. Sometimes people are just wanting to do one festival with, just smoking weed or just drinking or something like that. And there's no judgment there. It's whatever you are trying to accomplish, whatever you need to do like that. That's where you want to be. And you'll find somebody through Facebook or Instagram or something that can help you through that for sure. So it's been life-changing for me because when I got clean, one of the things they tell you is, you have to stay away from old, like, play places and play people and play things. And I'm like, I never get to go to raves again. Like I
you don't want to give
No,
up this part of your life at the same time.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm stubborn. So I was like, I'm going to figure it out. And I did.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
you know, some people still don't understand. They're like, how do you run around at these things and not? And I'm like, because years ago, it stopped becoming about the drugs. I remembered why I'm there. And it's the community, it's the culture, it's the fashion, it's sometimes the food, it's the merchandise, it's the
So many
shopping,
other things.
it's
Yeah.
everything. Like I'm not, once I saw it as like you're not here to like, get messed up and barely remember any of the sets to like no judgment if that's what anyone does. If that's the way you enjoy festivals, that's fine. But like it almost killed me. So like we don't do that no more. Like,
Yeah. That's not, not for everybody.
no, we're not gonna do that. So if some people do that, that's cool. But I'm always like, you enjoy the festival the way you enjoy the festival. Unless it impedes on somebody else enjoying the festival, then we're gonna have a nice talk. But other than that,
Yeah, let me do my thing. Oh, thank you so much for sharing all of that. Like I feel very much that some people listening probably feel very seen right now, which is really,
yeah.
really important. And like I said, it's a common question that I get a lot. So I'm glad you pointed out the Facebook groups as well and the sober campgrounds. Definitely, if anybody's listening, like look into that at any event you go to. I feel like a lot of camping festivals have situations like that or have different facilities and things that they offer. So definitely look into that. And then the only other thing I'll say, because I think it can be hard with certain friend groups, like we said, like sometimes you might just have to move on from a group if it's not the best for you. And I think a lot of young people, because now like I'm 30. So with our group, like if somebody says like they're gonna have a sober night or whatever, like no, nothing is gonna come out of our mouth like you fucking loser. It just who gives a shit? That's your night. But I feel like in your college years and things like that, like it's very heavy party environment. So if you're somebody that's trying to be sober right now in a situation like that, you may just need to like do that outreach to find other people that you can go to shows with that aren't going to like make you feel bad about a choice.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be 30 in January. So like, I get it, but that's exactly how I was when I was in college. It's like, what do you mean you're not going to drink with me tonight? That's so lame. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
And it is hard, but I've seen a lot of people even going into, I know some of the festivals have like, like Electric Forest 2022 or something like that, where you can find the Facebook group for the year of the festival that you're going to and post in there and be like, hey, I'm anyone else going sober? Like, do you guys want to do a meetup? I've seen people coordinate meetups at Lost Lands, at I don't remember what other festivals, but I know I've seen them at Lost Lands before. But yeah, you could definitely coordinate something and find some new friends for, and it doesn't have to be forever, maybe just a little bit to cut that, that association or to, just expand a little bit, that's
take a break too, like just for your health. I mean, point blank period. It's not healthy to do if you're going to festivals every month and stuff like that. Like I've had Dance Safe on here. Like it's not a good idea to be doing certain substances like that frequently as well. So like you guys got to take a break.
Right. And I'll tell you, like I said, unless you want to wind up at 29 years old, like with Swiss cheese brain, like I was doing Molly like almost every weekend like that. And it's funny because at the time I was thinking to myself, like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I can function, which I was. But like now I'm 30 on SSRIs permanently for the rest of my life because I fuck my shit up. Like, so it's a price to pay, and that's not to knock anyone who indulges every so often, but it can get dangerous and it can really fuck your life up. Like,
you gotta be careful.
Be careful, be mindful, test your shit, God, please test your shit. You do indulge. And yeah, if you want some help or you want some support, there's people out there. Anyone's always welcome in my DMs. If I'm at a festival that you're at, let's fucking, I have crackhead energy without the crack. That is my deal. That's I don't need it at this point in my life. I am just so stoked about life, and I'm happy to bring anyone on who wants to, do this way. It's awesome. And the best part is like when I first went to my first show clean, I was like, well, I feel like I can't go as crazy because I'm not, messed up. So I can't feel like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was so messed up. I'm like, reality, like this is how I am.
Yeah.
And my friend's like, everyone just probably thinks you are anyway. Like, nobody knows you're not.
And people are so in their own world too at that point. If they are on anything, like they're not perceiving what's happening around them. So
be a wild child. Like I woke up with a live stream Lost Lands this year with my mouth wide open on the rail, and I'm like, well, whatever.
I'm living my best life. Oh, wait. So where can people connect with you? What's the best place to get in touch with all things that you're doing?
Definitely the best way to, if you're trying to get a hold of me, is my Instagram DM. Those, I'm on Instagram the most out of anything. And that's the best way to connect with me, through there. And I can help refer anybody into, Facebook groups from there. But yeah, that's where I see, I don't know what it is with Facebook that, like, when I get message requests, I like have a hard time getting to them, but Instagram gives me the nice little request notification, so I can always see. But yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me. If you have any questions, you want to talk, like, nothing I love more than, like, I got a message from somebody like right after Lost Land saying, like, it was one of our neighbors who told my friend that he was like, I decided that I wanted to go to a show sober tonight because I saw the way that, like, you and Mo did it, and it just, like, you inspired me to want to do it, like, try it, like, see how much fun it is. And, like, that's fucking dope, dude. Like, and it's just about trying. And if you try it and you don't like it, it's not for you, that's okay. You know? But if anybody ever wants help or support, Momo_Dubs on Instagram, best way to contact me.
Beautiful. At Momo_Dubs. There will be links down below. Check out the Freedom Ravewear collections that are coming out, and the Jaws and Bite this winter collection. Thank you so much for coming on today. It was seriously such a pleasure chatting with you. And I'm so excited about where you're headed. Like, this is seriously just the beginning. So, and I can't wait to meet you at some point in person.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited. Thanks so much, Emma. I appreciate it.
Of course. All right. You hang tight. Everybody else, I'll be back in just a second with some EDM news. Alrighty, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that episode featuring MomoDubz. I'm a huge fan of her. It was really, really awesome to finally get to know her a little bit better and spend some time with her. So I hope you guys resonated with this episode. And again, please go show her some love and support. Check out Freedom Ravewear. She is designing some crazy good lines, and their patterns and everything looks so awesome. So go show her some love. Shout out Freedom Ravewear for sponsoring today's episode. Let's dive into some news here, and then we'll wrap everything up. So first and foremost, I want to read some of the Grammy nominations, because we got our dance and electronic artists and albums that were nominated, and there are some pretty exciting ones on here. So let me just pull this up really quickly. You're going to see names like Illenium, Black Coffee, and Tiesto, of course. But let's see here. Okay. The best dance and electronic recording, you have Afrojack and David Guetta's song Hero, Olafur Arnold's featuring Bonobo, Loom, James Blake, Before, Bonobo, and Totally Enormous Extinct Dinosaurs with Heartbreak, Caribou, You Can Do It, Rufus Du Sol, Alive, and Tiesto, The Business were all nominated for the recording. And then for best dance and electronic music album, we had Black Coffee, Subconsciously, incredible. Illenium, Fallen Embers. Shout out Illenium, guys. So freaking proud of him. It's an incredible album, and it's well deserved. So pumped for him. Major Lazer, Music is the Weapon, Reloaded, Marshmello, Shockwave, Sylvan Esso, Free Love, and 10 City Judgment. So some really big names there. Congratulations to all of them. It's super cool. So I'm excited to see who wins. I'm kind of like, I don't want to say who I'm leaning towards, but honestly, Black Coffee and Illenium, those albums are like fucking fire. So, festival announcements, that's pretty much all we have for the rest of this stuff. So we are finally seeing events returning in 2022, which is so exciting. We all know this past year was still weird with everything going on. There's still a lot of things the live events industry has to figure out. And so, festivals were kind of a test this year. Some went well, some didn't. There's a lot of lessons learned and things like that. But I think 2022 is going to be the first full year where we're seeing a lot of events like finally come back, because there have been a couple that have been gone for at this point 2 years, which is extremely unfortunate, especially in Europe. So hopefully 2022 in general will be a comeback year for the live events industry. So a couple announcements. Movement Detroit, which is a major techno festival in Detroit. That didn't happen for the last 2 years. It's finally coming back. It's Memorial Day weekend, so May 28th to the 30th. Their lineup is always incredibly stacked. So if you like techno, check out Movement Detroit. We also had GovBall announced. They're back to their normal dates. Actually, they're going to be September 24th to the 26th. That one's in New York City. And then we have Electric Forest dates. I'm so excited. I can't even talk about it, guys. I bought my tickets to Electric Forest in fucking 2019. Okay. It will be literally 3 years later by the time we go. It's insane. It's really insane when you think about that. I remember sitting in my office at work, which I don't even work at this company anymore, like waiting in line. It was so much stress, and we finally got it. We had a whole group camp, and most of us held on to our tickets. So the dates are June 23rd to the 26th. I will be going the whole time. I'm going to be camping. So you guys will have all kinds of Electric Forest content coming out from me. It's my first time attending Forest, so I literally cannot fucking wait. That's a big one for me. Oh, and then we also had an announcement from Elements Festival, which I talked about on the podcast before. They had some issues this year with weather, which then affected their whole arrival process, which was like a cluster. So they announced that they are actually going to be moving to a new location, and they are going to be happening, I think it's going to be in August now. Let me see. It's in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. I watched, they have an announcement from one of the founders talking about the new location and like kind of addressing the situations. And they also like took into consideration feedback from this year. So there is going to be car camping available, which it wasn't before. So you will be able to park next to your campsite. There's no more shuttles back and forth. It said the site is built to handle crowds 5 times larger than Elements is used to. It's a shorter drive from major cities. It's built on level ground with drainage, so you can arrive and leave with ease no matter the weather. Yeah, and I believe it's going to be in August. Sorry, I'm waiting. I'm like watching a video and I'm waiting for the dates. Oh, it's 100% solar powered on site at an organic farm. Interesting. But yeah, August 19th to the 21st, 2022, which is interesting because usually it's a Labor Day weekend festival, but I think there's just so much competition that weekend. Like so many festivals because of COVID, like moved to Labor Day, and it was a lot. So that's interesting that they moved it back a little bit. So maybe I'll go next year. We'll see. I wouldn't go if it was Labor Day weekend because I'm definitely going to be going back to ARC Music Festival for sure. But now that this is a different weekend, possibilities. It's a possibility, guys. You never know. All right. With all that being said, you guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, there's a couple things you can do to support the podcast. You guys could write a review on Apple Podcasts. That's a huge bonus. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. You can subscribe on YouTube, come join our Facebook group and our Discord channel. You guys are more than welcome to come find, your Rave fam over there. And then of course the new merch line is officially out. So this is my 3rd merch drop that I've done. Thank you to everybody who has supported it so far. I really, really hope you enjoy your stuff when you start to get it in. But yeah, that is available. There's a link down below. In the show notes, along with today's partners, Raver and Freedom Ravewear. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have an incredible week this week, and I will be back next Wednesday with a new episode. Bye, guys.